The strange encounter, it was an ordinary evening for Daniel. He was walking home from work. The streets quiet, the sky already turning dark. Streetlights flickered on one by one. Nothing about the night seemed unusual, until he noticed her. A tall woman stood across the street. She was watching him closely, not moving, not blinking. At first he thought maybe she was waiting for someone. But when he walked past, her eyes followed him. There was something strange in them. They were too bright, almost glowing in the dim light. Daniel quickened his steps. He didn't know her, and he didn't like being stared at. But when he glanced back, she was still there. She wasn't following him, just standing, watching. He shook his head, tried to ignore it, and went inside his apartment. That night, Daniel sat at his desk with his laptop open, half-heartedly scrolling through news. The image of the woman would not leave his mind. Her eyes, her face, it felt burned into his memory. A knock at the door made him jump. He froze. It was late. Nobody came to visit him at this hour. For a moment, he thought about pretending he wasn't home. But the knock came again, softer this time. Cautiously, he walked to the door. "Who is it?" he asked. There was silence. Then a voice. A woman's voice. Calm, almost musical. "I need to speak with you. Please, open the door." Daniel hesitated. Something inside him told him not to. But curiosity won. Slowly, he unlocked it. Standing in the hallway was the same tall woman, but now she was not alone. She held a small child by the hand. Daniel's chest tightened. "What do you want?" he asked sharply. The woman didn't answer right away. Instead, she knelt down beside the child and pulled out something from her coat pocket. It was a photograph. Daniel's photograph. She showed it to the boy, who looked no older than 6 or 7. His eyes widened, glowing faintly in the dim light of the hallway. The woman whispered to him as if Daniel couldn't hear. "He's the one. He's your real father." Daniel felt his breath catch. "What are you talking about?" he demanded. The boy stepped closer, staring at Daniel as if seeing him for the first time. There was something unsettling about his gaze. It was too deep, too knowing for a child that young. "I think you've made a mistake," Daniel said, backing up slightly. "I don't know you. I don't know this child." The woman finally met his eyes. Her voice was calm, but her words sent chills down his spine. "No mistake. You are connected to him in ways you don't yet understand." Daniel shook his head. "Look, I don't know what kind of game this is, but you need to leave now." The boy tugged on the woman's sleeve and spoke in a low voice. The language was strange, nothing Daniel had ever heard before. The sounds were soft but sharp, flowing like water yet heavy with meaning. The woman nodded as if she understood. She touched the boy's head gently, then looked back at Daniel. "He knows you," she said, "even if you don't know him yet." Daniel's mind raced. Maybe they were crazy. Maybe this was some elaborate scam. But then the boy's eyes began to glow brighter, faint light pulsing from within like a hidden flame. Daniel stumbled back, heart pounding. What's wrong with his eyes? The woman didn't answer. She only watched him with that calm, unshaken expression. The boy stepped into Daniel's apartment before he could stop him. He walked around slowly, his small hand brushing across the furniture as if searching for something. When he reached Daniel's desk, the laptop screen flickered violently. The image froze, then glitched, lines of static running across it. The boy touched the keyboard with one finger. The screen went black. Daniel's mouth went dry. "That's not possible," he whispered. The woman finally entered the room, her long coat trailing behind her. She closed the door quietly as if sealing them in. "I should explain," she said softly, "but you must listen carefully. This is not a game. This is not a trick. What you saw just now is only a glimpse of what he is." Daniel stared at the boy, who had turned to face him again. The child's eyes glowed faintly, lighting up his small face. And then, in a voice that was both young and impossibly ancient, the boy spoke a single word. "Father." Daniel felt his whole body go cold. His mind screamed to deny it, to throw them out, to call the police. But his legs refused to move. The word echoed inside his head. "Father." And for the first time he wondered if his life, ordinary, safe, predictable, was about to end, because nothing about this child was human. The secret revealed Daniel could not sleep that night. The woman and the boy sat quietly in his living room. He had not dared to throw them out. Something about the boy's glowing eyes and that strange word, "father," kept him frozen between fear and disbelief. The boy was now asleep on Daniel's couch, his small body curled like any normal child. If not for the faint glow in his eyes that sometimes flickered even when closed, Daniel might have convinced himself it was all a dream. The woman sat across from him. She hadn't stopped watching him since they entered. Finally, Daniel spoke. His voice was sharp, though his throat was dry. "Who are you? And don't tell me fairy tales. I want the truth," the woman nodded slowly. "You deserve the truth, but it will not be easy to hear." Daniel leaned back, crossing his arms. "Try me." The woman's gaze drifted toward the window as if searching the night sky. "My name is Solara. I am not from this world." Daniel let out a laugh, harsh and nervous. "Not from this world? You mean like an alien?" Her eyes returned to him. "Yes." He expected her to smile, to admit it was a joke. She didn't. Her face was calm, serious, and her eyes held no trace of a lie. "You're insane," Daniel said. Though his voice lacked conviction, Solara shook her head. "Insanity does not make machines fail when a child touches them. Insanity does not make eyes glow with energy born from the stars." Daniel swallowed hard. His laptop was still dead, the screen black. "I don't know what trick you used," he said weakly. "But I'm not stupid. People don't just walk in from the sky." Solara leaned forward, her voice dropping low. "Your people are not as alone as you think. My kind has watched humanity for centuries. Quietly. From the edges. We did not come to conquer. We came to observe. And sometimes, to guide." Daniel shook his head. Why me? Why bring this boy here and call me his father?" Solara's eyes softened. She looked at the sleeping child. "Because he is half of you and half of me. He is the bridge between two species." Daniel felt his chest tighten. He stood quickly, pacing across the room. "No, that's impossible. I've never seen you before in my life. You can't expect me to believe that boy is mine." Solara's voice remained steady. "Blood does not lie. He was not created the way your kind understands birth. He was chosen. His father had to be human. And the one chosen was you." Daniel stopped walking. He stared at her, confusion twisting into anger. "Chosen by who? For what?" Solara's face grew grim. "By those who see what is coming. There are many among my people who believe humans are dangerous, too violent, too reckless. They argue that your species must be controlled or destroyed before it destroys others." Her words sank into him like ice. "But there are others," she continued, "who see the potential of your kind. Compassion, hope, the ability to fight for more than survival. This boy is proof of that hope. He carries power from me and spirit from you. Together he may shape what is to come." Daniel rubbed his temples, his heart pounding. "This is insane. I'm just an ordinary guy. I go to work, I pay bills, I watch TV. Why would anyone choose me?" Solara's eyes did not leave him. "Because even ordinary men carry greatness they do not see. You were chosen because of who you are, not who you think you are." Silence filled the room. Daniel wanted to argue, to call her a liar, but the memory of the boy's glowing eyes kept his words trapped in his throat. After a long pause, he said, "So what happens now? You tell me I'm his father, that he's some miracle child, then what? You leave him here? You want me to raise him?" Solara shook her head. "It is not that simple. The boy is in danger. There are those who know of him, both human and alien. They will come for him. Already I feel the shadows moving. We cannot stay in one place for long." Daniel frowned. "Danger from who?" She lowered her voice. "From those who fear what he might become, and from those who would use him as a weapon." Daniel's mouth went dry. He looked at the boy again, peaceful, innocent. He didn't look like a weapon. Solara leaned closer, her tone urgent. "You must decide, Daniel. He needs you, not just as a father, but as a shield. Without you, he will be taken. With you, he has a chance." Daniel felt a storm inside him. He had never wanted children. His life was simple, controlled, and predictable. Now this stranger was telling him he was the father of a half-alien boy who could change the fate of two worlds. It sounded impossible. It was impossible. But then the boy stirred in his sleep. His small hand reached out blindly as if searching. Without thinking, Daniel stepped closer. The boy's fingers brushed against his, warm and gentle. The moment they touched, a rush of images filled Daniel's mind. Stars, planets, strange cities of light, and then fire, worlds burning, collapsing into darkness. Daniel gasped and pulled back. The boy's eyes opened. They glowed faintly, and he whispered a word Daniel could not understand. Solara's voice was soft but heavy with meaning.
He shows you the future.
What may come if we fail? Daniel's heart pounded. For the first time, he didn't feel like this was a lie. He felt like the universe had just cracked open in front of him, and he was standing at the center of it. The pursuit morning came heavy and gray. Daniel hadn't slept at all. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the boy's glowing stare, the strange visions of stars and fire, and Solara's calm, steady voice repeating, "He needs you. He is in danger." The boy, still unnamed in Daniel's mind, was awake now, quietly drawing circles on a piece of paper with one of Daniel's old pens. The circles weren't random. They formed perfect patterns, shapes within shapes, symbols Daniel had never seen before. Solara stood near the window, her body tense. She hadn't moved much since dawn, but Daniel could tell she was listening to something beyond human hearing. Finally, she turned. Her voice was low but urgent. "They have found us," Daniel blinked. "Who?" Solara's jaw tightened. "Humans, your own government. They have hunted me for years. They know about the boy now. They will not stop." Daniel's stomach turned cold. "The government? What do they want with him?" Her eyes hardened. "What do men always want? Power." A knock came at the door. Hard, heavy, not like a neighbor. Daniel froze. Solara's eyes flicked to the boy, who instantly stopped drawing. The pen rolled from his hand. "Daniel Carter," a voice called through the door. "Federal Security Division. We need to ask you a few questions. Please open up." Daniel's heart pounded in his chest. He looked at Solara. She shook her head slowly. Another knock, louder this time. The voice was sharper. "Open the door now, or we will enter by force." Before Daniel could react, Solara pulled the boy close to her. She whispered something in the alien tongue. The boy's eyes began to glow softly. Daniel hissed in panic. "What are you doing?" "They'll break the door down." Solara's answer was calm. "We cannot stay." "Take his hand." Daniel stared at her. "What?" "Take his hand," she repeated firmly. "Trust me." The door burst open with a crash. Men in black uniforms stormed inside, weapons raised. On the ground, one shouted, "Now!" Daniel's instinct screamed at him to drop, to surrender. But then the boy's small hand touched his. Heat surged through him, and the room shifted. The air seemed to bend. The men's voices grew distorted like echoes underwater. Their movements slowed, each step dragging as if time itself was resisting them. Daniel gasped. What's happening?" Solara's grip tightened on both of them. "He is shielding us." "Now move!" They rushed past the soldiers. To Daniel, it felt like running through thick smoke. Bullets fired, but the sound was muffled, unreal. The boy's glow grew brighter, bending the path around them. In seconds, they were out of the apartment, down the stairwell, and into the street. The effect faded as quickly as it came, leaving Daniel gasping for air. The city was awake now, cars honking, people moving, but nobody looked at them. Solara pulled Daniel toward an alley, her movements swift, practiced. "They will regroup," she said. "We must keep moving." Daniel stumbled after her, still in shock. "He just stopped bullets." "He bent reality." "How is that even later?" Solara cut him off. "Right now, survival." The boy's hand was still locked in Daniel's, small but unshakably strong. Daniel felt the pulse of warmth in his skin, like a quiet heartbeat that wasn't his own. Behind them, black vans screeched to a stop. More agents spilled out, scanning the streets. "Target is with hostiles," one barked into a radio. "Repeat, target is with hostiles." Solara pulled them into another alley, then through a back door into an old laundry shop. The place was empty, the machines covered in dust. Daniel's breath came in ragged gasps. "They'll track us. They'll find us anywhere." Solara nodded grimly. "Yes, that is why we must leave this city." "Leave?" Daniel's voice cracked. "I don't even know what's happening, and you want me to run across the country with you?" Solara's eyes softened just for a moment. "You have already run." You held his hand. "That was your choice." Daniel turned to the boy. He sat quietly on one of the broken washing machines, watching Daniel with those glowing eyes. He didn't speak, but the weight of his stare was heavier than words, and then Daniel remembered the visions. Stars, fire, a burning earth. He clenched his fists. "Why me? Why drag me into this?" Solara stepped closer. "Because you are the only one who can protect him. You are his anchor to this world. Without you, he is lost. Before Daniel could reply, a crash echoed from outside. Agents had found the back door. Solara's voice snapped like steel. We move, now. They ran again, through side streets, across crowded intersections, down toward the old train station. Alarms wailed behind them. Daniel's lungs burned, but adrenaline kept his legs moving. Every shadow felt like a trap, every sound a threat. Finally, Solara guided them into a hidden stairwell beneath the station. The air was damp, smelling of rust and old stone. They stopped only when they reached a sealed metal door. Solara placed her palm against it. Strange light shimmered from her skin, and the door unlocked with a heavy groan. Inside was a narrow tunnel, lit faintly by blue crystals embedded in the walls. Daniel stared. This isn't human. Solara's expression was grim. No, this was built long before your people knew what lived beneath their cities. The boy tugged on Daniel's sleeve. For the first time, he spoke in English. His voice was soft, almost pleading. They won't stop, Father. They will chase us forever. Daniel's blood ran cold. Solara met his eyes. He is right. You must be ready. The pursuit has only begun. And as the heavy door sealed behind them, cutting off the sounds of the soldiers above, Daniel realized he was no longer just running from danger. He was running toward a truth that could change the world. The truth about humanity. The tunnel stretched endlessly beneath the city. Its walls glowed faintly with crystals that hummed like distant voices. Daniel followed Solara and the boy, his footsteps echoing on the cold stone floor. Every part of him wanted to turn back. To climb the stairs, face the soldiers, and pretend this nightmare was over. But each time he looked at the boy, glowing eyes calm and strange, something inside him refused to let go. Finally, the tunnel opened into a vast chamber. The ceiling arched high above, carved with symbols Daniel could not read. In the center stood a circular platform, smooth as glass, surrounded by tall stone pillars. Solara stopped and placed her hand on one of the pillars. The crystals flared brighter, flooding the chamber with blue-white light. Daniel shielded his eyes. What is this place? Solara's voice carried a strange weight. A sanctuary. Built long before your nations, before your history. My people have hidden in places like this for centuries. Daniel turned in a slow circle, trying to take it all in. The carvings on the walls weren't random. They were maps, star maps, drawn with precision far beyond anything ancient humans could have known. He stepped closer, eyes narrowing. His breath caught in his throat. That's Earth, Solara nodded. Yes, and those, she pointed to other glowing symbols, are the worlds of my kind. We came here long ago not to rule but to watch. Daniel shook his head, his voice cracking. Why Earth? Why us? Solara moved toward the center platform. Because humanity is different. My people study many species, but yours stands apart. You fight, yes. You destroy, yes. But you also create. You imagine. You love beyond survival. Her gaze turned to the boy. We needed to know if humanity could shape the stars without burning them. That is why he exists, a child of both worlds. Daniel laughed bitterly. You make it sound like we're some experiment. Solara's eyes hardened. You are more than that. But understand, many among my kind disagree. They see only danger in you. They fear what you may become. Daniel's throat tightened. So, what? This boy is supposed to prove we're worth keeping alive? Solara's silence was enough of an answer. Daniel paced across the chamber, frustration boiling in his chest. This is insane. I didn't ask for any of this. I didn't ask to be dragged underground, hunted by soldiers, told I'm the father of some alien miracle. His voice echoed, sharp and broken. The boy watched him quietly, eyes glowing faintly. He slid down from the platform and walked toward Daniel. In his small hand, he held the paper he'd been drawing on earlier. He offered it silently. Daniel frowned, taking it. At first, it was just circles, strange shapes. But then he realized. They weren't random. They matched the carvings on the walls, star maps, perfectly drawn. You've got to be kidding me, Daniel whispered. Solara's voice softened. He remembers. Things no child should know. Visions from both sides of his blood. Daniel stared at the boy. And what if he fails? What if I fail? What happens to us then? Solara's face darkened. Then your world burns. For a long moment, silence filled the chamber. Daniel's chest rose and fell with uneven breaths. The weight of it all pressed down on him. The boy's glowing eyes, the soldiers above, the alien star maps carved into stone. Finally, Daniel sank to the floor, his voice hollow. Why me? Out of all the billions of people, why me? Solara crouched in front of him. Her gaze was steady. Because humanity is not tested by its strongest, but by its ordinary. You are no soldier, no king, no genius. You are human. That is why you were chosen. Daniel stared at her. Part of him wanted to laugh, to call it madness. But another part, a part he couldn't silence, felt the truth in her words. The boy sat beside him now. Slowly he leaned his head against Daniel's arm. The simple human gesture hit harder than anything else. Daniel swallowed, voice low. I don't even know his name. Solara's expression softened for the first time. His name is Kale. Daniel whispered it, testing the sound. Kale. The boy's eyes flickered with light as if he understood, but peace did not last. The crystals in the chamber dimmed suddenly, their hum turning sharp, uneasy. Solara's head snapped up, eyes narrowing. They've found us. Daniel's blood ran cold. The soldiers? Solara shook her head slowly. No, something worse. The air trembled. The stone pillars shook. Carvings along the wall glowed blood red. Daniel staggered to his feet. What's happening? Solara's voice was grim. Not all of my people want peace. Some came to erase the boy. They will kill anyone in their way. Kyle rose to his feet, his small hands clenched. His glow brightened, fiercer than before. He looked at Daniel with eyes that no longer seemed like a child's. Father, he whispered. They're here. And as the chamber doors thundered with blows from the outside, Daniel realized the truth was bigger than he had ever imagined. Humanity's survival was not a distant idea. It was standing right in front of him in the form of a boy who carried both the hope of Earth and the fire of the stars. The chamber shook as blows hammered against the sealed doors. Red light pulsed across the carvings, filling the air with a low, vibrating hum. Daniel pressed his back to the wall, his breath sharp and uneven. They're coming through, he said. Solara moved quickly, pulling Kale behind her. We cannot fight them here. The sanctuary is strong, but it is not unbreakable. Daniel's eyes darted to Kale. The boy was calm. Too calm. His glowing eyes fixed on the trembling doors, as if he could already see who was waiting beyond. Father, Kale said softly, they want to take me, but I won't go. Daniel's heart clenched at the word again. Father. It still felt impossible, yet each time Kale spoke it, a thread pulled tighter around Daniel's chest. Solara's voice was urgent. Daniel, listen to me. He cannot survive this alone. He draws strength from you. Your presence keeps him grounded. Without you, his power will consume him. Daniel shook his head. I'm no fighter. I can't stop. Whatever this is, Solara's gaze hardened. You are not asked to fight. You are asked to stand. Do you understand the difference? The doors cracked. Stone splintered, dust falling in heavy clouds. Daniel's pulse raced. Stand? He muttered. That's easy for you to say. Before Solara could reply, Kyle stepped forward. His small hand reached for Daniel's. For a moment, Daniel hesitated. But then he felt it. The same warmth, the same strange heartbeat as before. The moment their hands touched, visions slammed into Daniel's mind. He saw Kale grown older, standing tall under alien skies. He saw Earth's cities burning, oceans rising in fire. He saw stars collapsing into darkness, but then another vision. A future where Kale stood between two armies, his glow brighter than the sun, and both sides lowered their weapons in silence. Daniel stumbled back, gasping. I saw everything. The end. The war. Him. Solara's eyes softened. Now you understand. He is not just your son. He is the line between destruction and survival. The doors burst open with a deafening crash. Figures stepped inside, tall and armored, their skin pale as stone and their eyes burning red. Their weapons glowed with strange energy. Daniel froze. These were not human soldiers. These were Solara's people. The tallest of them raised his weapon, his voice cold. The child must die. Kale's glow flared, but Solara stepped in front of him. No, he carries both bloods. He is the bridge, the warrior sneered. He is an abomination. He will destroy us all. Daniel felt Kale's grip tighten. The boy's voice echoed in his mind, clear, not spoken. Don't let go, Father. Daniel swallowed hard. Fear burned through him, but so did something else. Something stronger. He stepped forward, placing himself between Kale and the warriors. His voice shook, but his stance did not. You'll have to go through me. The warriors paused. Their leader tilted his head, studying Daniel like a strange insect. A human stands in our way? Daniel's heart thundered, but he forced himself to meet the alien's burning gaze. He's my son, and you're not touching him. For a moment, silence hung heavy. Then laughter, low, sharp, cruel. But Kale's glow flared brighter, spilling across the chamber walls. The energy spread into Daniel, filling his veins with heat. He no longer felt weak. He felt anchored, connected. The warrior's smile faded. "Impossible!" he hissed. Solara's voice rang out. Not impossible, human. The warriors advanced, but Kale lifted his small hands. The glow surged outward like a shield, shimmering with light. Blades and blasts struck it, but the shield held. Each strike echoed through Daniel, his body trembling with the effort of sharing Kale's burden. Daniel gritted his teeth. "I can feel it. He's using me." Solara placed a hand on his shoulder. "No, he's trusting you. He is showing you his strength, and you are giving him your humanity." The shield pulsed brighter and brighter until the warriors stumbled back, shielding their faces from the light. Finally, the leader shouted, "Retreat!" The warriors pulled back through the broken doors, snarling promises of return. Then silence. The glow faded. Kale swayed, exhausted, and Daniel caught him before he fell. The boy's head rested against his chest, breathing steady but weak. Daniel's own body trembled, but he held Kyle close. For the first time, he didn't feel like a stranger holding someone else's child. He felt like a father protecting his son. Solara knelt beside them. Her voice was soft. "Now you see the bond. He is strong, but only with you. Together you are more than either world expected." Daniel looked down at Kale. "He's just a kid. He shouldn't have to carry all this." Solara's eyes darkened. "None of us should. But destiny does not ask if we are ready." The boy stirred, whispering weakly, "Father, I saw the stars again." They were burning. Daniel held him tighter, his voice steady for the first time. "Then we'll stop it, together." Solara placed her hand on the wall and the chamber shifted, revealing another tunnel leading deeper into the earth. She rose, her eyes glowing faintly. "We cannot stay here. The warriors will return and the humans will not stop hunting us. The real journey begins now." Daniel nodded slowly, still holding Kale in his arms. His fear had not vanished, but it no longer ruled him. Because in that moment, standing in the ancient chamber with his son's light still glowing against his chest, he knew one thing with absolute certainty: he would never let go. The choice. The tunnels grew narrower as Solara led the way, her steps silent on the damp stone floor. Daniel followed with Kale at his side, the boy's small hand still gripping his. The glow in Kale's eyes had dimmed after the battle, but Daniel could feel the quiet strength pulsing through their connection, like a heartbeat shared between them. They walked for what felt like hours until the tunnel split in two. Solara stopped. She placed her hand on the wall, her face grim. "They are closing in," she said. Daniel frowned. "Who? The soldiers or your people?" Her jaw tightened. "Both." The words hung heavy in the air. Daniel's stomach knotted. "So we're trapped." Solara shook her head. "Not trapped, tested. They will come from both paths. Humans with their weapons, my people with their blades. Each side demands the boy. Each side believes he belongs to them." She looked at Daniel with sharp, unflinching eyes. "The choice will be yours." Daniel's throat went dry. "Mine? Why me?" "Because you are the anchor," Solara said. "Kyle will follow your lead. His power bends to your will. If you choose the humans, they will take him and use him as a weapon. If you choose my people, they will twist him into something cruel, something not human. Either way, he will be lost." Daniel stared at her, heart pounding. "And if I choose neither?" Solara's gaze softened, almost sorrowful. "Then you must fight both. And the cost will be great." The sound of footsteps echoed down the tunnel. Daniel could hear the sharp voices of human soldiers, the metallic clink of their gear. From the other path came a low hum, alien and sharp, vibrating through the stone like thunder. Kale squeezed his hand. His voice was quiet but steady. "Father, I'll do what you say, but I don't want to hurt anyone." Daniel crouched, meeting the boy's glowing eyes. "Kale, listen to me. You're not a weapon. You're not a tool. You're my son. Whatever happens, I'll protect you." The boy's glow flickered brighter at his words, as if hope itself answered. Solara moved closer. "The time is short. Choose now. Do you trust your own kind, Daniel? Or mine?" Daniel's chest tightened. He imagined the soldiers dragging Kale away, locking him in some dark lab, stripping him down to wires and numbers. He imagined Solara's people, their burning eyes and cruel voices calling him an abomination, bending him into something that served only their war. Neither felt like a choice. The footsteps grew louder. Shadows moved at the edges of the chamber. Daniel clenched his fists. No, I won't hand him over to either side. Solara tilted her head, a faint smile tugging at her lips. Spoken like a father. The soldiers appeared first, rifles raised. Their leader shouted, "Daniel Carter! Step away from the alien child. He's dangerous. We'll take it from here." From the opposite tunnel, Solara's people entered, tall and terrible. Their leader hissed, "Give him to us, human. He does not belong in your hands." The chamber filled with shouts and weapons. Daniel stood in the center, Kyle's hand in his. His voice cut through the noise. "You all think you own him, but he doesn't belong to you. He belongs to himself." Both sides laughed, human and alien alike. The soldier's voice was sharp. "You don't understand what's at stake. That boy is a threat to the entire world." The alien leader sneered. "No, he is a threat to the galaxy." Kyle's glow began to spread again, trembling with the weight of their fear. Daniel felt the energy surging, building, wild and untamed. He knelt down, gripping Kale's shoulders. "Listen to me, son. Don't let them decide who you are. You're not their weapon. You're not their fear. You're Kale, you're mine." Kale's glow steadied. His eyes locked onto Daniel's, and for the first time the boy smiled. The chamber shook as Kale raised his hands. A wave of light exploded outward, blinding both soldiers and aliens. Weapons clattered to the ground. Screams echoed as the light bent reality itself, forcing both sides back. Daniel shielded his eyes, but he did not let go. When the light faded, the chamber was empty. The soldiers and aliens were gone, scattered back into the tunnels. Only Daniel, Solara, and Kale remained. Daniel fell to one knee, exhausted. Kyle swayed, his small body trembling from the effort. Solara's voice was calm but filled with awe. "He chose mercy. He chose to protect without killing. That is not my people's way. That is not your people's way either. That is his own path." Daniel looked at Kale, his chest heavy but proud. "Then that's the choice. We don't follow them. We make our own way." The boy's eyes glowed softly, no longer with fear but with quiet certainty. Solara bowed her head slightly. "So be it, but know this, both sides will return. Neither will forgive what you did here. From this moment on, you and Kale are fugitives to humans, and traitors to my kind." Daniel pulled Kale close, his voice steady. "Let them come. They'll never take him from me." Solara studied him for a long moment. Then she smiled faintly. "Perhaps that is the strength my people feared most. Not your weapons, not your wars, but your love." Daniel rose to his feet, holding Kale's hand tightly. For the first time, the choice felt clear. Not humanity, not aliens, not destiny, just a father and his son, and together, they would walk into a future no one could control. The final stand. The tunnels ended at the edge of a valley. Daniel stepped into the open air, Kale's hand tight in his. For the first time in days, he saw the sky again, gray, heavy with storm clouds. The valley stretched wide, empty, the earth scarred with deep cracks as if something ancient had torn through long ago. Solara followed close behind, her eyes scanning the horizon. "This place is not safe. It is too open." Daniel's chest was heavy. "Nowhere is safe, is it?" Before Solara could answer, the ground shook. Engines roared. From one side of the valley, black helicopters appeared, slicing through the clouds. Soldiers poured out of armored vehicles below, weapons glinting in the dim light. From the opposite ridge, alien ships descended in silence, their hulls black and gleaming. Figures stepped out, tall and armored, their glowing weapons humming with lethal energy. Two armies, two enemies. And in the center of the valley stood a man, his son, and the alien woman who had brought them here. Kale pressed closer to Daniel. "Father," he whispered, "they're coming." Daniel's heart pounded. "I see them." The human commander raised a megaphone, his voice sharp and commanding. "Daniel Carter!" "Hand over the boy. Do it now and we'll spare you." The alien leader's voice boomed like thunder, carrying without aid.
"Human, step aside."
"The child belongs to us." Solara's face hardened. "They will not stop. They will kill each other until nothing is left." Daniel shook his head. Not if we stop them first. Solara's eyes widened slightly. You would stand against both? Daniel tightened his grip on Kale's hand. I would stand for him. The soldiers advanced, weapons raised. The aliens moved in formation, their blades glowing like fire. Daniel crouched in front of Kale. Listen to me, son. This is the moment. Not theirs, yours. You don't have to destroy them. You just have to show them who you are. Kale's eyes glowed brighter, his small body trembling under the weight of the choice. What if I'm not strong enough? Daniel's voice was steady, filled with a strength he didn't know he had. Then we'll be strong together. The armies drew closer. The valley trembled under their march. Kale stepped forward, his glow spreading across the ground like fireflies. The light grew brighter and brighter until it pulsed across the valley. Soldiers shielded their eyes. Aliens snarled in fear. The human commander shouted, "Open fire!" The alien leader roared, "Strike!" But before either side could act, Kale raised his hands. A wave of pure light exploded outward, halting both armies in their tracks. Weapons froze in midair, locked by unseen force. Blades dimmed, rifles jammed. The light spread upward, painting the clouds with gold. For a moment, the entire valley glowed as if touched by a new sun. Visions poured into every mind present. Humans saw cities burning, their own greed devouring the earth. Aliens saw stars collapsing, their endless wars scattering their people into darkness. And in both visions, one figure stood in the center, Kale, glowing, not destroying, but stopping. Not killing, but protecting. The soldiers dropped to their knees, trembling. The aliens lowered their weapons, their red eyes dimming. Daniel felt the visions too, but stronger. He saw Kale groan, standing between Earth and the stars. Both sides watching him not with fear, but with awe. The light faded slowly, leaving silence. The human commander fell to the ground, his voice shaking. What is he? The alien leader staggered back, eyes wide. He is not ours. He is not yours. He is something new. Daniel stepped forward, pulling Kale close. His voice carried across the valley louder than he thought possible. He's my son. He's human. And he's alien. But most of all, he's hope. If you can't see that, then you don't deserve him. Neither side moved. Soldiers glanced nervously at one another. Aliens exchanged sharp whispers. But none stepped forward. None dared. Solara placed a hand on Daniel's shoulder. Her voice was soft but filled with pride. You have done what neither my people nor yours could. You made them see. Daniel's chest heaved, exhaustion pulling at him, but he held Kale firmly, refusing to let go. The boy looked up at him, his glow fading to a gentle shimmer. Father, are they gone? Daniel smiled faintly. Not gone, but they've seen enough to think twice. The helicopters lifted off. The human soldiers retreated, their commanders silent. The alien ships rose into the clouds, their warriors vanishing with them. For the first time, the valley was quiet again. Solara turned her gaze skyward. This is not the end. They will return. Both sides. The boy frightens them too much to let him live free. Daniel nodded, his grip on Kale unshaken. Then let them come. We'll face them again, together. Kale leaned into him, tired but smiling. For the first time, the word sounded natural when he whispered it. Father. The storm clouds broke apart, a ray of sunlight spilling into the valley. Daniel stared at it, his voice steady. One day, Kale, you'll have to choose between Earth and the stars. But until then, you'll have me. Solara's eyes glowed faintly, unreadable. And when that day comes, perhaps he will choose not one, but both. Daniel wrapped his arm around his son, guiding him forward into the light. Whatever the future held, he knew one truth more powerful than any weapon, stronger than any army. The bond between a father and his child could change the fate of worlds, and it already had.